And Casey joins us live now. Case, at least it'll be dry for fans getting up in the dead of night.
Well, Rosanna, it may be chilly, dropping to just 8 degrees in the early hours of tomorrow morning, but at least the serious wet weather is behind us, and no doubt that'll be welcome relief for our SES crews who've had a hectic couple of days. 430 call-outs during Adelaide's monster deluge. Last night, a motorist learned the hard way about the dangers of driving through floodwaters. The 73-year-old ignored the road closure signs and attempted to cross Winery Road at Finniss in his ute before getting stuck.
Our swiftwater technicians have effected a rescue by wading out over 100 metres to retrieve that person. They climbed out of the window and they sat on the roof awaiting our crews.
There was lots of sandbagging at Glenelg too, where the Padawalunga threatened to overflow. Fortunately, it didn't, and crews were out there again early this morning cleaning up. So while there is a small chance of some more showers during the day tomorrow, it'll be nothing compared to what we've seen in recent days. I'll have more on the weekend's forecast later in this hour.
All right, thank you, Casey. The state's road toll has risen again after the death of a 15-year-old boy. The teenager was behind the wheel of a ute that rolled and crashed into a tree on Winery Road at Tarlee on the 16th of June. He was airlifted to hospital with life-threatening injuries but died yesterday. 60 people have now been killed on SA Road since the beginning of the year. Police are investigating 2 early morning break-ins targeting ATMs. 3 masked men forced their way into the St Kilda Hotel just before 5 this morning. The gang grabbed the takings from a bingo machine before unsuccessfully using an angle grinder to steal the hotel's ATM. About an hour later, it's believed the same thieves broke into a Virginia service station. The trio managed to get away with the ATM there, making their escape before police arrived. An elderly Stop the Chop protester who got into strife for trespassing in North Adelaide says she'd do it again. The 78-year-old appeared before a magistrate today, flanked by fellow activists, and despite breaking the law, walked away without a conviction.
To her fellow tree activists, Midge Tanith is nothing short of a hero. The 78-year-old hit the headlines for her defiant storming of the North Adelaide golf course reconstruction site, with Walker in tow, taking a tumble in the process.
You're pushing an old lady over.
Look at
what you're doing.
She was locked up and charged with trespassing without lawful excuse. At her first court appearance, she pleaded guilty and managed to avoid a criminal conviction. But the experience hasn't stymied her resolve.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it again. I'm not ruling anything out.
Her followers there for moral support, helping to maintain the rage over the felling of hundreds of trees.
I feel incredibly passionate about this, probably more passionate than I could feel about anything else.
The author and former Adelaide City Council Citizen of the Year says the fight isn't over.
I've been seen as a kind of icon. I'm not a warrior. I can't do this alone, and if you look at all the people around, we're all doing this together.
The magistrate said Tanith had no criminal history, had devoted her entire working life to helping others, and hoped she wouldn't commit this offence again.
Telling her the court doesn't condone breaches of the law, no matter how noble the cause.
But what I say to people is, don't praise me, join me.
Deanna Williams, 7 News.
A police security officer accused of threatening to kill his wife with his own service weapon says her version of events is not true. Tim Morrison has denied placing a gun to his wife's chest and a knife to her throat during a marriage marred by domestic violence. He's told a court there's no evidence the alleged crimes took place and it's a case of her word against his. The judge will hand down her verdict in September. 2 cars have been torched and others damaged during a frightening arson spree in the western suburbs. A station wagon went up in flames on York Terrace at Ferryden Park just before 5:30 this morning.
It was like pretty high. It was about to touch the tree and other cars, so it was pretty scary. So we just called the fire and they called the police.
When police arrived, they found a second car on fire at a unit complex on the same street. Both cars were destroyed, while 2 other vehicles nearby were damaged by the intense heat. Police are yet to make any arrests. And police say a shooting and 4 arson attacks are linked to an organised crime ring operating in Adelaide's suburbs. Detectives believe the suspects who carried out the crimes were likely acting on orders from senior underworld figures.
Suspects smashed their way into an Winery Road car wash and cafe. They doused the place with petrol from a red jerry can and then set it alight. It was targeted not once but 3 times on the 1st and 7th of January and the 18th of March.
The fire destroyed the property with damage estimated at about $500,000.
Now, police have linked those arsons to another deliberately lit blaze at a building housing multiple businesses at Payneham and a shooting at Rostrevor in February where a gun was fired into a suburban home. A probe has uncovered this photograph of a person holding a shotgun with distinctive features.
And our investigators have hopes that someone in the community may have information about the origin or location of that firearm.
In a bid to dismantle this organised crime ring, detectives need the public's help to identify these 2 men who are likely contracted by senior underworld figures who may even be anonymous to them.
If they think they're going to get paid particularly well and looked after by people that are established within serious organised crime, they really need to rethink it.
A police task force called Operation Endurance has been set up to investigate the organised crime spree. Detectives won't reveal the motive for the offending, but say the illicit tobacco trade isn't involved.
We understand that there's linkage between the businesses in a professional capacity is what I'm very comfortable to say.
Information can be provided to police in confidence. Lauren Rose, 7 News.
Trams will stop running to Glenelg from midnight tonight, beginning a 16-day shutdown of services. The Transport Department says it needs to finish essential upgrades ahead of the reopening of the Mike Turter Bikeway. The path runs alongside the tram line from the CBD to the Bay. Substitute buses will run from South Terrace until July the 20th. AFL legend Nicky Winmar has been found guilty on 3 out of 4 charges of assaulting a woman during a heated argument at a Victorian motel in May last year. The 60-year-old dragged the woman by her hair before slamming her head into a door multiple times. The former St Kilda star had pleaded not guilty, maintaining he acted in self-defence. He'll return to court at a later date for sentencing.